Welcome back, friends and neighbors. It's another week, so we have another live stream of your questions getting answered. This is going to be an interesting one. A couple of moves the Chiefs made today. We'll talk about that, as well as get into the nitty-gritty, what you want to know here on RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. It's a new night. Danilo's with me tonight. I think you guys are going to enjoy that. We're going to start rotating who's going to be with me on Q&A nights as we get a little bit more perspective. The draft streams went really well, and everybody seemed to enjoy having a little bit more than just my voice going on, so that's a good thing. How are you, Danilo?
I'm doing all right, man. It's been an interesting week. It's fun to be the next stage of my life. I had my birthday on April 29th during draft weekend, so it was a lot of fun.
Back on to the progress, right? I don't know. Birthdays aren't my thing anymore. I really don't dig them. I got to tell you.
I mean, it's a number. It's a number.
Yep. It is what it is.
I look at people that look what they look like when they were my age 20 years ago, and it's a different world. So it's good.
It definitely is. And a different world's what we're going into tonight. I put Mahomes a read onto the thumbnail because there's a number of things that are going to shift, and I'm going to talk about those here coming up later in this week. And we have a ton coming. I'm working. I am trying to get the Nick Bolton film review done. Having trouble with my screen recorder tonight. Going to give it another go, but hopefully I'll have that for you tomorrow. We'll have more on Wednesday from Dan, another piece from him. Chief in the North is Thursday night. We're going to do that live again with Seth, and then Danilo's back on Friday. We're going to give you all this content, so make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell notification now so you know what's going on. Looks like my internet connection's a little bit off, so I apologize about that, but that's why we have Danilo, so I don't have to do all the talking.
Right.
And Ben, thank you very much, Ben. A couple of different super chats. Appreciate that. And folks, if you want to support the channel, that's how you can do it. The super chats are open, but whatever dollar amount you throw in there, make sure you ask a question. Tonight is about your questions. You can always get gear from the RGR store. That helps us as well. And Ben did ask a question, so you've actually done more work on this guy than I have. Is Finke the next Edelman type? And from you, what does that mean?
I believe he is. I think he's like about 5'10", 185. He's got really good short area speed, kind of like the wide receiver short area speed version of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but the long speed's not going to be, tremendous. He's that you need 6 yards, will get you 7 or 8. You need 10 yards, will get you 12. He's that first down guy with really sure hands, and he's just a want-to guy.
I will take it. Is this Thorson's last chance? I know who you're talking about with Thorson there, Ben, but hey, we'll get to it. Cole, thoughts on Fish signing with the Colts? More power to him. You had to think that connection with Chris Ballard being here when he was here makes a lot of sense, right? Still don't have a prognosis as to when Fish is really going to be ready, so we don't know how much he's going to play, but I'm glad that he found a roster. I know a lot of folks were hoping he would come back. I didn't really ever see that in the cards, but at least his career will go on. I'm happy for him. I think he deserves it. What do you think, Danilo?
I think he deserves it. I think the cord got burned and stitched shut once we signed Orlando Brown, and perhaps he had two opinions, and the Chiefs doctors thought it was going to be a long recovery, and maybe the second opinion said it would be faster, and the Colts went with that.
Yeah, could very well be. And you know what? I think he will get back on the field. I don't think his career is over by any means, but I don't know that it's going to be, first quarter of the season, like I told you guys when it first happened. So Cole's got a lot of good questions. By the way, Cole's one of our members, and if you guys want to be a member, you can do it by joining the button that's over there underneath Danilo, like that way. And it's just a simple tier system. You can either be in the chat and just dig that with the draft picks, or as you get into the rookies, you get more videos, and as you get into the all pros, etc., you get to do what we're doing tomorrow night, and that is I'm going to have a Zoom with all the all-pro and elite members, and we're going to have a special guest. I'm going to start doing that from time to time. Just pick folks out of the other memberships and raise them up. I think it's going to be fun. But Cole asked here about DeDe Westbrook. Evidently, he's hearing that their players are putting recruiting pressure on him. I hadn't heard that, but, I think he's an interesting option. I don't know if anybody is going to break the bank. What do you think?
I think he's a good option. I think he's a good straight line speed guy, and he's shown decent hands. I've seen a few career drops that were less than fun to watch for his team. But I'd be more along the lines of somebody like a James Prochet out of the Ravens, because I think there's going to be some good receivers cut from that squad.
Oh, I like Prochet. I liked him coming out quite a bit. And again, this might be a coincidence, but you haven't seen all that development come out of Baltimore. So let's see what goes on with that. Milo, how are you? And thanks for the super chat. What would a Hall of Fame level fullback do for this offense? What would a Hall of Fame fullback look like in terms of performance? Well, that's where the two things are very, very different. It would look like a guy that looks like Anthony Sherman or Michael Burton. And if you guys missed it, I talked to Michael Burton yesterday. The video went up last night. Go back and check that out because it was a lot of fun, especially for me. I think I'm like the last guy in Kansas City that's rooting for the fullback. But at the end of the day, it's about how much Andy will use him. And I don't know that Andy's going to go overboard. But it's very interesting to me that one of the things Mike had to say was that he came to Kansas City because Andy uses him at least some. It's not like the guys that just throw the fullback out the window. So I'm glad to see it. Let's see. Who else? What do we got in here? Thank you again, Milo. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling too far, you guys. This chat thing, I tell you what. Oh, looks like
my thoughts on fullback are what Ryan said. Yep.
Hey, Stevie, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that they're pumped about Colts. Folks, the comedy show of Stevie Keys and Brian Gooch is likely to start anytime soon. So if you have something, get it in now before they completely take over the chat. I believe Aaron Morrow is going to be here, and he is in here. I'm glad. I just had to scroll a little bit. So if you guys have any issues or need something and I miss it, say hello to Aaron because he will keep me on the straight and narrow. Let's see. Ryan White, glad you made it. Everybody's doing well. All right. Looks like we got a couple more super chats. I'm going to jump to those unless I see something else. And Aaron. Yep. Aaron's on top of it again. Kramer, Cole. Okay. Travis, thank you very much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Come back and I'll look for a question here and make sure you get one of them too. Hey, Jake. Man, a lot of members in here tonight. I'm glad you guys all made it. And Oregon Fishing is glad to see you, Danilo.
Hey, man. Good to see you, buddy. He comes on the show every Wednesday pretty much. It's nice to see him.
Rock on. And you guys got to remember, I'm going to call him Danilo. I'm going to call him DJ. I'll probably refer to him as Thunder at some point, and just roll with me. I can't keep it all straight anyway. That's just the way it is.
I've played many parts. It's okay. They all work.
Let's see. Let's give this one to you. Do you see them getting or putting someone in the Reggie Ragland run stuffer role? Do you think that that's what's going to happen?
I don't think we're going to go back to the thumper days per se. Even the guy they brought in from the Titans, the former Baltimore Raven, former Jag most recently, I believe, the Pacific Islander kid, he was a second rounder. I think that's more for the edge. I think they're going to keep the speed tandem in the middle with Gay and Hitchens, and then Gay and the rookie Bolton. I don't see the big downhill big guy. I think they want to have guys like Jerron Reed and Chris Jones inside pushing the pocket, kind of like the Baltimore Ravens did with Ray Lewis, where it's just big, heavy hogs in the middle and let the fast, smaller linebacker run around and find the holes and hit them before the running back does.
Yeah, let's hope that they can do that. I think Reed is going to make a bit of a difference there too. I will say this though, I agree with you for the most part. They don't want that thumper guy in the middle anymore. That's why they went with a 5'11" middle linebacker. We'll talk about him here this week. But I think the one thing they will do that I think Korea will fit really well is when they took Reggie and they put him outside, like you said, on the end of the line, a little bit more pass rush, a little bit more like make them earn it side to side. I think Korea can do that pretty well, and I do expect to see that a little bit. They call that overhang in college. I don't know if they use that term anymore in the NFL. I haven't heard it in a long time, so it is what it is. Cody, thank you very much. I'm glad that you're here. Metal Rocker, as always, how are you, pal? Ready for the Zoom series. My question for you, too. What do you two think of the KC possibly signing Westbrook and Vernon? Do you mean Olivier?
Yeah,
Westbrook, no thank
talks.
you.
Olivier Vernon was in talks. He's kind of a similar in that he can do some of what the kid from the Jags can do as well. And the overhang edge, would you say an overhang?
Yeah,
I heard like a ranging edge is another way to think. Just think of that ranging it, like he's going to take from the edge to the sideline. He's not going to go sideline to sideline, but he's going to, like Brian said, he's going to make the running back work for anything, swing type patterns and running to the edges. It's going to be, but yeah, I heard about Olivier as well. So I don't know.
I don't know what he has left. I was not impressed with what he did last year. We'll see. Jay Elder, how are you? Yep, they let a couple of guys go today, including Witz. I always liked Witz, but I think he's out of his playtime. If they're going to bring Breland back, I think they're probably going to go through these OTAs and see what they have first. I don't know that they're going to make a priority of him right now, or else he probably would have been under contract by now. I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens. Frog Farmer, single wide tonight. I like that one. I am still drinking tea because now that we moved it up an hour, and now we're a little bit earlier for me, I don't know that I'm ready to drink beer already.
Coffee.
DJ's doing the same thing. Cole, Fish got paid in Indy. Who, if anyone, do you think pays Schwartz? I don't think anybody does. Did you see his box jump today? A little social media thing? That much of a box jump. And I love the fact that he was willing to put it out there and make the joke. Schwartz has a lot farther to come back on. If he does come back, he said he's willing to come back to Kansas City. I don't think he's going to get many takers in the meantime. So they'll let the Chiefs re-sign him for cheap and see how he feels. Let's see. Here's one for Danilo. Enjoyed your cameo on Silicon Valley. Couldn't believe my eyes when you appeared on camera. See, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it was a couple of quick lines. I had a couple scenes. I was a security officer at Hoolicon, the Hoolicon episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
I tell you
funny group of guys. Oh my gosh.
I can only imagine. I think, unfortunately, I probably most resemble TJ Miller, and that's not really a good thing. So sorry, TJ. Samuel, how are you? What do you think about the rumors that some Chiefs players are trying to recruit DeDe Westbrook? I think that's fine. I think there's some connections there. There's a couple of Oklahoma guys, right? And if I'm correct, that's where DeDe played. And you can go back and you can take that away from it. And it's funny when you see guys in the offseason, they're not touting Chiefs gear. They got their college gear on. Everybody's alma mater is important in the NFL. So it doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, Creed and Orlando want another Sooner in the room.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Stevie, what's more surprising, Fisher signing or Tim Tebow? Back at 33 years old? Finally did the position change to tight end that I said he should have done in year 2. But hey, better late than never. Do you think that works out?
I mean, he's back with his old coach, man. He's back with his old ball coach. If he comes back, if that is that happened, or they're still talking about it? Because I hadn't seen an official, but I mean, you know what? He's got barely any wear and tear on him. He's been playing baseball for a minute. Why not? Why not come in and play 3 or 4 years a tight end and help this young quarterback and your old ball coach transition into the league?
Yeah,
he's got to block people and he's got to catch the football. So we'll see.
Yeah. Voodoo, you're right. He's a smaller guy. He is McColl all over again. He is Kadarius Toney without the change of direction quite. DD's a little more straight line from what I remember.
Yeah.
Julian, glad you made it too. I'm going to be talking to you coming up too. So Metal and Julian, hit me in the email at the about page so I can get some emails for you guys. Let's see. Patrick, clicked it too many times, Patrick. Should we be questioning why Matthew hasn't extended, why the CB room hasn't been addressed? Questioning? Sure. I think it's just a matter of timing and a matter of, it's a negotiation. I don't think what you saw, let's see, Patrick was in July, Chris Jones was in July. I don't think that this is atypical by any means. Do you, DJ?
No, I think this is just Veach getting it done the Veach way. He's going to, just have faith in him. He'll get the deal done. It didn't look like we were going to get Chris Jones and Watkins signed after the Super Bowl, and we did. We got everybody pretty much back. So, but hey, man, you know what? We did that, and we lost the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay just did that after winning like we did. And the old rule is you're either getting better, getting worse, or staying the same. And staying the same is usually adjacent to getting worse. So the Chiefs got better, and Tampa Bay stayed the same. So I kind of like.
I don't believe anybody stays the same. You're either improving or you're falling behind.
Sliding back.
Yep. There
is older,
no middle ground. Feels like the rest of my life.
You and everyone else's.
FLDB, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate it. And first one for you. I appreciate that. Arrowhead confirmed at full capacity this year. That's not official yet. That is their goal. They have said that they want it full. That is not official yet. Jackson County's going to have to sign on that. There's another couple of things they're going to have to happen. But that is the way they're trending, and they feel confident about it. And everyone that I've talked to, from the beat reporters down to the national guys, They all feel that the NFL is doing whatever they can in terms of like infrastructure, medical staffing, anything they have to do to get those stadiums full again. So I usually make it to a home game every year. We'll see if it happens this year. I'll be happy. I'm going to make it like a checklist. I'm going to get to training camp. If I do that successfully, then I'm going to make sure that I come back and I get to a game. So that's my goal. Do you have any plans on traveling?
I've never seen a game at Arrowhead yet in all my years of Chief fandom. I've been to several games. I was in California for 20 years, so it was just a haul, and it was always easier to go to the Chargers game, go to local stuff. But I watched the Emmitt Smith Football Life again last night. It was on, and the one thing he said, his coach always said, a dream is only a dream until you write it down. Then it becomes a goal. It's not a goal until you write it down. Wednesday night on my show, I will reveal, when we have the schedule out, I'll reveal which game I am going to go to this year. I will be at a game this year.
Good for you. Sure. I'm glad to hear it. Spencer, could LDT have trade value is basically your question mark. And his cap hit isn't gross. I think it's like 6-ish this year after the 2 base salary. So I think it would be like 2 in dead cap. I'd have to look at it. Right now, he doesn't have trade value. He's been a very good player, but his last season he played wasn't great, and then he opted out. He has to get on the field. If you see him crushing dudes in the preseason, he might develop some trade value real quickly. I think the guys that you want to watch are Allegretti and Wiley for what they bring, because they have recent snaps, and if they show up in the preseason, they're banging it out. If the Chiefs don't feel that they can beat Long and LDT, then those guys do have value for sure. Let's see. Lil Caddy, how are you? Thanks for the super chat. Somewhat related to offense. If we have too many bodies on the O-line, do Wiley Allegretti have trade? Okay. For a guy like Greedy. Now, I assume you mean Greedy Williams. Danilo, would you pull that trigger?
No, I don't want Greedy Williams. I don't really care for the performance hasn't matched the hype. I would trade Wiley for something valuable. I wouldn't trade Allegretti yet. I think Allegretti's just shown too much promise and it's still too early in the process. Your Sear Durant might have some value too because he's still fairly young. But I mean, LDT, leave him alone. I don't want LDT going anywhere. I think LDT is going to be fine. I think he's going to be good, and he's going to be great depth for one more Super Bowl, and then we move on.
Well, yeah, and he's going to be over 30, so that's perfectly fine. Yeah. That's the tail end of a normal career. Good for him. I'm with you. I don't think I would trade for Greedy Williams. Ryan White, anything to say in tribute to Tom after his one-day contract? I'm surprised it took this long. I think he was holding out hope that he could get on another roster, and it just didn't happen. So I'm really happy to see it happen. His playing days have been over for a bit. So, and I hope that helps him reconnect with the outside world. I know there were some concerns about him for a while. So I was really glad to see it. I know you are, DJ.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with DJ now because it's quicker.
Okay.
Gary, Ryan, is Noah the tight end a good blocking tight end? No, he can't block for nothing. I mean, not for nothing, but he's not an inline like block a lineman. No, he's getting away, maybe take on a linebacker or a safety. But Noah Gray is a pass catching tight end. He is not here to. He might do some wham work inside when there's already a hole. That might be nice, but don't look for him to be like grinding on defensive ends or stuff like that. In fact, I might be a little scared for him if he tried to do that. Aaron, I'm excited about hearing most of all the UDFAs. Who do you guys like the best out of them? Who's your favorite UDFA, DJ?
Oh gosh, my favorite UDFA. I've got to look at the list again. You go first.
You know, Herring's up there. You guys know that I follow Georgia football. I have some friends that are alumni of that program. My family's from down there. So I'm glad to see they got another dog on the roster. But I don't know. Like, that was a significant injury right in it was in January. So like he seems like he's going to be a Tim Ward kind of guy. It might just be a mystery until a season from now. So I'm interested about that. I also like Boodle, the CB from Nebraska. I saw him make some plays on the field. I thought he was an undrafted grade, so I'm not surprised. And I think that they seem to have gone with instinct more than testing times. I think the Chiefs didn't trust the testing this year. I certainly hope so, because I gotta get more folks looking at it. Tell you the truth. What do you got, DJ?
For my favorite UDFA name is DiCaprio Boodle. Obviously, Marlon Character is another interesting name. When you guys were asking earlier about addressing the cornerback depth, those guys could be, another situation with Bo Peep Keys and L'Jarius Sneed, and maybe they could be something. We'll see. But overall, is the quarterback Shane Buechele. I mean, SMU. I really think that they've got their Chase Daniel for Patrick Mahomes, and they let go of Tomu. So maybe they think that too.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being the 3, but I think that's exactly what it is. Another young guy that they feel has attributes they can mold. You've been in French Canada. Like, is Buechele the correct? Is that how we say this now?
I mean, Favre is pronounced Favre, so I don't have any rules for America on proper French pronunciation. It's like everybody in Canada is like, but the V's before the R. I can't ignore that the V's before the R. You know what? You pronounce your name however you want. It's your name. Ask Coach Mike Krzyzewski.
Oh, right.
Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
That was so good.
Metal, I got you before. I don't see Vernon. You can always add somebody. You need depth. If so, I hope he's dropped some weight, and I think he's got a little more get off. Oh, look, Dan Harms is going to join us now. What's up, old Dan?
Captain?
What's going on?
There's Leafs over your head.
Same old. Yeah, it's so pretty. So pretty.
Well, I can't really do anything because my desk still isn't here.
Oh, no?
No.
It's always something.
I told him about that, yeah.
Build a desk, Dan. You're a man. Build a desk.
No, I'd rather have it delivered and built for me.
There you go.
Exactly.
Ryan White, does Michael Burton have the athletic traits profile to be similar to Kyle Juszczyk? I did his matrix. He's not quite as good as Juszczyk. Neither was Sherm. Burton was more athletic during his testing. We got to remember Burton's 29 years old too, so it's not like he's a second-year player. But he is more athletic than Sherm tested, not as athletic as Juszczyk, so it's a nice middle ground there. And I think if you go ask Drew Brees, I think you'll be happy with what he got out of Burton from the fullback perspective. And by the way, you guys, he is pumped to be in KC. It was great talking with him. He's going to be a guy you guys are going to dig. Let's see. Avery, how are you, bud? As far as rookie minicamp, which rookie would you prefer to hear looking the part? Also, which 2 rookies, aside from Creed, could be starter by mid-season? That's a good one. Unfortunately, you're not going to like this. I could see Bolton starting in the base. Their base is really the nickel, and I think they're going to push Willie out there with Hitch. And I don't see anybody else starting right away. I think Powell's going to be in the mix, but I don't think he's going to be a walk-in day one starter, even by mid-season. Do either of you guys disagree with that on Powell?
No, I definitely don't. The problem with Andy Reid and wide receivers to begin with, rookies don't typically get in to be starters. McColl was put in because he's a speed guy, and they got him gimmick touches and things like that, and they used him on deep plays. Like, that was what they did. They mixed him in a little bit, and I think that Powell will get some of those looks in terms of getting on the outside a little bit here to see what he can do, but he's not going to be a starter. And this draft, largely outside of Creed, was for 2022. Like, I don't feel like this was these guys are going to come in and start right away. This was definitely kind of we got some guys that are developmental players that can come in 2020 into 2022 and actually probably start. I think that's what they went and did.
I don't disagree with that. As with Powell is less polished than I like Powell a lot, but he's less polished than Pringle was coming out, and the trust factor with receivers. I agree. The one guy that could surprise if he goes into camp and just starts throwing people around like Kelechi Assembly, which is the pro comp that I had for him coming out. Trey Brown could just be, or Trey Smith, my brain could be the guy that just, Trey could come out there and surprise us. If they really go the best 5, like they say that's their goal, is the best 5 will play. I mean, he could come out and surprise everybody. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
Yeah. There are crazier things. I'll say that. Arthur, thank you. I've kind of heard something similar, and I think Breedland's just kind of holding out for that payday. Somebody's going to get hurt in camp or something. He's going to get that. So I don't know if he ends up back in Kansas City.
Please.
Gooch or Stevie, thank you very much. I'm glad that you're making up slack for Gooch while he's eating dinner. That's great to know. You guys make sure both of you are on the member Zoom tomorrow night. We're gonna have a special guest. Avery's gonna make it, I hope. And we're gonna have some discussions with you two because y'all are making me crazy, and in a good way. Let's see. Baltimore, how are you? Is or does Thunder Dan get to enjoy Boulevard products? Do you get Boulevard in Louisville?
I'm not a huge beer guy to begin with. I like, ambers and browns and stuff like that. And I've got a few that are, boring, simple grocery store brands. I'm more of a bourbon and whiskey guy myself.
It's like you're in the right spot for that.
Absolutely.
Almost.
Cole, how's this for right around the trade deadline? Brown, Tooney, Humphrey, Smith, Niang. And by the trade deadline, I want to see Allegretti as the swing tackle. I don't know. I think they like Allegretti at guard. I think I like Allegretti at guard. I don't know about tackle. I don't know that I'm putting him back out there.
No.
I have trouble seeing both Smith and Niang being in that lineup because that means that you beat out LDT and Kyle Long. And I know they're both question marks, but I can't see both of them losing out to two guys who haven't played an NFL snap yet.
Humphrey, I can see. I can see Humphrey for sure.
I can too. Jake, Chiefs schedule looks rough. Reported the 7th hardest. Tampa Bay got off with on paper easiest. I think KC did enough to push back against the schedule strength. I think it all changes if Aaron Rodgers moves. If Aaron Rodgers comes in the division, things get hairy. The rest of it I couldn't care less about. And quite frankly, at this point, until they got guys on the field and I see something in preseason that makes me trust any of these strength of schedule things, I'm not paying attention to one of them. You guys differ?
I know what Kansas City's answer is. It's 2 words. Hold my beer. 3 words. George Bush 2 words.
We got to go over the counting
1,
there,
2,
man.
3. I said bourbon. I just can't, hold my beer, baby. I'm not worried about the schedule. I'm not. These players aren't caring about that. They're going to play who they play. That's it.
Good Lord, it's on. Gooch is here.
There we go.
It's going to be fun now. Good point, Aaron. Thank you. And actually, I'm slow, of course, because you guys know that I do this when I get to talking. We're at 4:45 for a Monday night. I love that. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We're going to keep doing stuff like this. Joe Jackson, thank you very much. Are you shoeless? Who do you want to see the Chiefs play week 1 in the upcoming season? I couldn't care less. I mean, quite frankly, I'll take the Bucks tomorrow. I don't care. Let's just get it on.
I'd love it. I don't care either. It's not something that is they're going to play who they play and they're going to beat who they play in week 1. I don't. It doesn't matter who it is.
I like this one, Aaron. Aaron says we might have changed the name of the channel to Gooch Going Rogue. So everyone just keep that in mind if you see some logo changes. Yeah, I mean, Danilo, do you have a preference at all?
I don't. It's always nice to see them jump out to a 1-0 lead in the AFC West to get that all precious title going again. But Tampa Bay beatdown would be nice. Just get out there and just thrash them and go, this is what it's like with an O-line in front of Patrick. Remember middle of the season when we smashed you guys? Yeah, all that talk after the Super Bowl, gross.
Yeah, I hear
over
you.
it.
Yeah. Samuel, do you think the Chiefs should have kept Damian Williams instead of signing Jerick McKinnon? I don't. Damian was not going to be content being the 2nd or 3rd guy. And quite frankly, I don't know that he would have sat still and been, a good teammate about it. So I think they did what they needed to do. Damian's in a good spot. I think he's got a better chance. Am I wrong on any of that, you guys? Do you wish that they had Damian?
You're very. I would much prefer to have Damian over Jerick McKinnon, and a lot of it stems from the fact that he's already comfortable in this offense. And you made a point about him not wanting to be second fiddle here, but he's second fiddle there by a lot.
Yeah,
Montgomery is entrenched there. Even Tarek Cohen is going to come in and probably get more touches than Damian is. So it doesn't line up, and I definitely much rather have Damian over McKinnon at this point.
See, I think Damian gets more.
This guy here. I agree with this guy right here.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm with you on this one. Sorry.
We're not doing the Q&A anymore, guys, because they're both disagreeing with me. So I hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. And we are out of here. No, I'm kidding. Julian, what are your projected stats for Noah Gray, Cornell Powell? Over under 505 TDs. I will
combined?
Combined. Yeah, I'm reading this as each. But let's do it combined. I could see him stretching I could see the over for combined. Could you?
Combined, yes. individually,
not individually,
under
them.
Both of them under.
Dan?
Unless something drastically goes wrong, that's not a
Right.
good situation. Yeah.
This is what happens when we do it at dinner time. It's all right, bro. Pono, how are you out there? Hope you're doing well. Do we pursue Ingram again or add Houston? I don't think I don't think they need Ingram. I think Houston is it's a sentimental pick. I don't know what he's got left in the tank. Quite frankly, you have a bunch of young guys there you got to get reps for at the DN spot. Unless somebody's willing to be a mentor, and I think we all remember how it was before Houston left, he's not willing to be a mentor. I don't know that it helps you enough. Am I wrong, Dan? Tell me I'm wrong again, please.
No, I think that makes sense. I would like to have Houston back, but unless he's come around to the fact that he's going to be a rotational player, he's not going to be a starter, and that's kind of how it is in his career now, then he's probably going to stay and hold out for a spot where he can maybe wait for someone to get hurt and then come in and do it that way. I think Ingram still makes a little bit of sense because as much as Kendo has got the potential, again, he's probably going to be someone who you don't see much of this year, who's learning the position still. He has to learn what he's doing, definitely in pass rush situations. Ingram gives you juice in the pass rush, and it's something you could definitely use throughout the entire season to keep everyone fresh. So it would make sense to me, but I'm not sure they'll do it yet.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd like to see Correa pop off. I'd like him to see him return to that 20 sacks in college guy. He went in his first year, he showed a lot of promise, and then Dean Pease came in and kind of messed things up, moved him around, and then he got traded, and then Dean Pease became the defensive coordinator on that team and continued to ruin his career, basically getting him injured, playing him out of position. I'd like to see him get healthy and be back to that second-round draft pick that he was.
This is not a Dean Pease smashing podcast.
No, not at all.
You guys.
Some coaches just don't use guys the right way. It's just,
Well, and those coaches are usually consistent when they do that. So I'm with you there. Canadian Chief would like to see Pittsburgh on Sunday night at home. I'm down with that. I would love to see somebody put an end to the thing that is Roethlisberger.
He already did, man. He's toast. His arm is absolutely toast. It's falling off.
Yeah.
It's like Peyton Manning at the end of his season when they won the Super Bowl. He was just throwing ducks all over the place.
I am concerned. It's going to get ugly.
Concerned is not the word I would use. I love it.
No, I mean with the decision making in the front office. I am concerned as to what you think you're doing because I don't see it as a plus at all.
No, I get it.
Mr. Porter is here. I'm glad you made it, Jeff. Jeff's working on a couple of ideas as well for you guys, so hopefully you'll see more of him here in the next couple of weeks as well. Paul, any likelihood of trading for Julio? I don't think so. If we get a contract worked out for Badger, I really don't. I think it's a nice idea, but I don't think the value's there even. Do you guys want that? DJ?
I don't want it. I'm not really looking for it. I mean, I think it would be too expensive. He's never shown to be a guy that goes for a lower contract. He's always the guy that wants to get paid, and I think he would take too much of a chunk for the value.
Yeah. I'm going to do this for a while just to see if we can actually see each other's mannerisms a little bit more. RJ's here, folks. If you don't know RJ, say hello to him. Check out his art. It's really impressive. I think you'll dig it. Outlook for McColl. Is this the make it break it year? I think it is make it or break it. And I, for one, am polling for him to put it together and actually do it all. He's been on the edge a couple of times, but hey, it is what it is. Anybody disagree?
No, I'm actually going to be doing an actual video dedicated to this specifically this offseason. And it really, for me, it's his make or break year. I think that's what it is. At this point, you're entering your third year of your 4-year rookie contract. If you don't get it right, I think that this is kind of pushing it in, and they got to figure something else out. So that's what I'm going with there.
I think it's typically third year that receivers pop. And I mean, look back at Tariq's third year. Look back at any really good receiver in a West Coast offense. It's a little more complex than your basic offense. And Andy likes his guys to know every position. So I think he's going to do it. I think he wakes up being able to do things other people can't do. Yeah. So that's in his corner for sure.
Julian, I'm not huge on Jackson myself, but Dan, what do you think? Would you trade for him, especially if you were going to get something?
Am I thinking of the same guy as the running back from the Chargers or what?
I don't know what that was, but yes.
That was my dog.
Or that's Josh Jackson, right?
That's Josh, yeah.
I'm
JC, JC's a corner, if I remember right. Julian, clarify for us, and we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I can't know the
somebody
name
save
off the top of my
Gooch.
head.
Somebody save Gooch. I don't know what happened to him. Let's see. Ryan, assuming Veach trades and no lineman in the preseason, what position do you hope he goes after in return? I think it's more than likely going to be mostly picks, but if he does, I think they got to get another spark at the corner group. Dan did a video on it last week, and I'm just not comfortable with all the talent there. I think there's a lot of potential. I don't know if there's ready to go talent, and that's my issue with it. Let's see. Eric Schneider, my concern with Buechele is that he couldn't beat out Eilinger. I can't remember how to say that.
Ellinger.
But Dan, I know you've looked at him. Ellinger. Do you think Ellinger is basically a right-handed Tebow, DJ?
He can actually throw the football though. So as much as we want to say that, I think that he's a little bit better of a quarterback. So you guys remember that gif of Tim Tebow in practice throwing a duck that was just wobbling this way? Like Ellinger can actually throw the football a little bit, but Buechele is not going to make this roster, so it doesn't really matter.
You think he's going to be a practice squatter though? Because I think DeDe thinks he can make the practice squad.
I don't know what they're going to do with their quarterback. If it is a practice squad guy, he's probably just going to be a scout team quarterback, and they'll do the same thing they did with Tiamo right now. They don't seem to want a young guy to continuously breed up. They just kind of bring him in, be a practice squad guy, and then they let him go. So right now, I'm not too charged with the idea that they're going to want someone in to actually like develop as a young quarterback.
I think Buechele lost his job because some quarterbacks look at QBs and say Rich Gannon doesn't look as much like a quarterback as Elvis Gerbach because Elvis is bigger and more statuesque, and that drives me nuts. And I do think that the reason Henny's been the quarterback is not just because of the veteran status, but because Daniel got too expensive. I think this guy is going to be their next Chase Daniel. He's going to stay inexpensive, and he's not going to be fighting for reps. And I think Andy likes a non-threatening backup quarterback who, when called upon, can not lose football games.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's what it comes down to. And I do think that having Moore and Henny may be a little bit too much age this year. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Let's see. Kevin, with the signing of Burton, do you see that signing bumping Darrell Williams down to the depth chart? No, I don't think so. Burton's not going to be a tailback type. I'm really hoping for the wing T in the backfield and then split everybody out and do some crazy stuff. I don't think that includes handing the ball to him, a couple times a game. I think he got 13 touches in New Orleans last year. I think Sherm got just about the same. I expect a little uptick, but I don't think it's going to be huge. It's just my feeling. Daniil, is there one free agent still out there?
Sorry,
I was just going to ask you this next one. Is with one free agent out there that you'd still like to bring in particular?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. The JC Jackson they were talking about earlier. That's a corner from New England. He's decent. I mean, that could be an interesting guy in the mix. As far as the edge guys, I'm trusting Veach, man. There's nobody out there that really blows my doors off that's not going to be asking for too much money at this point. Ask me the same question in the middle of July.
Yeah, fair enough. Scott Meza, will CH beat McKinnon out for the starting spot? He doesn't have to. CH is the starter. McKinnon is not even in that mix.
Oh, he just did it. He just did it.
It's over. That's not what McKinnon's role is. He's to be that emergency back. I don't even think he's going to supplant Darrell, to tell you the truth. So I'm not too concerned about what the role has to be as long as they have enough bodies to get through what I think may be inching towards a little bit more run heavy this year, and certainly has an extra game in. I think that's the concern.
Let me answer his question with a question, be a true Canadian. Do we think McKinnon will be healthy by the time the season rolls around?
Well, if he doesn't have to play 20 snaps a game, I think he might. You never know.
Hurt in camp.
Alex, we talked about this a little bit before. I could see it. I won't have a problem if they bring him in. But I haven't seen anything since, 2 seasons ago when they started the year, or second game of the year when they were down in Jacksonville, where I thought he was really a threat anymore. So I'm not sure.
I would love it, to be completely honest with you. I think that he gives you Z and slot depth, which you don't really have when Tyreek's not on the field. You have nobody that can really do what he can do. You want to slot McCole in there, but he can't do those things that Tyreek can do. That's why he kind of in the slot/gadget. And DG can give you some of the routes that he can run. He's not going to obviously give you the big play explosion in terms of the speed, but he can still get down the field. So I would really like to see him in that role just for a season, because I do think that he provides some depth and veteran leadership for some of the younger guys. And I think that this is really the year that Pringle has to do something. He's got to get close to like 700-800 yards this year for him to be on the roster next year. That's what he has to do. And if he doesn't, he's done. So I think that giving a guy like DeDe in here could help him grow a little bit, because I feel like the route running type is, especially Powell too, like DeDe, Pringle, and Powell all bring some of that route running aspect. So I think I really like that move if they were to do it.
I do too. Ben, yeah, a crowded room is a good thing for the Chiefs. Honestly, competition in a crowd at any position is a good thing for the Chiefs. So don't be worried if they come through. RJ's on board with Correa. Okay, I'm trying to plead the optimist.
That's not what I got from that. That was more of a like, I don't
read two
ways.
Ryan, who gets the most playtime this year out of Saunders, Dana, or Wharton? That's a very good question. I think Mike Dana's the starter week one. I think he'll end up out snapping everyone else. But Dan, who out of the other two, you seem to be agreeing with me, who gets the most out of the other two?
It's going to be Wharton, because we have no idea how they feel about Saunders going, especially when you saw last year. He was inactive. He got healthy, and then he was inactive because Wharton was just head and tails above. Now, if they move Wharton out to edge, back to his original position, then because maybe that's what they're trying to do with all of this, not drafting an edge in the first couple picks they had. They felt more comfortable with Bolton and getting a guy in day 4 that they could develop. Maybe they're going to put Wharton in that rotation to get more out of him and let Saunders kind of try to develop in the middle. We don't really know what they're going to do yet, but it kind of feels now that Wharton has superseded what they thought Saunders was going to do, and that sucks because he was a 3rd-round pick that is not going to end up being what we thought he could be, if that's true.
Yeah, I'm with you. DJ, do you disagree with any about that in terms of the snap counts?
Just that I feel like Saunders is kind of developing into what I thought he would be, which was a guy that's not really going to last on the roster.
See, I think he still has upside. I don't know what happened last year. I'm still optimistic that he could be.
He was looking good at the end of his first year. He was trending up, like in a big way. Like, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't either. I know that he put on too much weight when he got hurt. I think that was a problem.
I'm thrilled. Conversely, I'm thrilled with Noddy. Noddy's, he's gone from a run plugging fire hydrant to actually shaving down the line and getting some penetration. So I'm really thrilled with that.
Folks, you can become a member and join the Zoom tomorrow night. You just got to go up to the all-pro level. It's going to be an interesting one. And Ryan Strange asks, who presents more upside for the offense? Pringle Robinson, DeDe Westbrook, if they decide to sign them. The problem is they don't play the same position. You can line them up at wide receiver. But I'll take Pringle all day long out of those three. Dan,
I would go ahead. Dan.
DJ, whoever.
I would take Pringle all day long out of those three as well. And then further to the earlier question, the DeDe thing, as interesting as it is, goes to me with the Julio thing. And no offense to the player, they're both talented guys. But if we're going to spend reps, and with the way practices have been chopped over the decades with injury concerns and stuff like that, there's only so many reps to go around. Get Pringle in there, get Powell in there, develop the guys that we hope and think are going to be here, instead of wasting reps on guys that are going to be gone next year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And this kind of goes inside of this, and you can address this, I know, later, Dan. If McColl doesn't make a big impact, do they keep him? Yes. You don't get rid of a guy on a 4th-year contract that you spent a 2nd-round pick on. No way. But you're not extending him either. So
depends. Contract year is undefeated, as
true.
The late great Dress Taylor would always say. So even if he doesn't pop this year, I think that there's a chance, however small, that contract year gives him a little bit of something to go for. And you're not going to let go of speed just because it's speed and you can always use it.
My only problem is I think most of McColl's issue right now is mental processing of understanding where to be. Yeah. And I don't think a contract year makes that much better. I think it's a physical effort thing, certainly for the contract year, but he's got to either get his butt in study mode a whole lot more, or it's not going to happen. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, he didn't have the benefit of a proper second off season and everything that most receivers get. So even though the 3rd year is usually the make it or break it year, there might be a little concession with coaches and stuff like that for considering that COVID year was really out of whack and threw things for a loop a little bit. It's gonna really show in how hard he works this year, like you said, Ryan.
Man. Daryl, I'm glad you made it back. I didn't see the comment yet, but Aaron's noticing you, so I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Let's see. Metal. If you go to the About page of this channel, there's an email address you can contact me at. Send it to me there, please. That is the best way to do it. Yep, we are growing, Aaron. We're up over 500, approaching 550 now. You guys are doing great. Natalie, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Aaron and Coke. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Maybe there's a story there. I'm going to have to hear that. Whiskey Bravo. Always enjoy watching you guys talk Chiefs. Since you want a question, give us your all-time favorite Chiefs player, Danilo.
I mean, the reason I became a Chiefs fan was I was looking for a team to follow. I was born in New York, raised in Canada, so I was watching the Giants, and I saw 58 running around out there like his hair was on fire, and that was it. Derek Thomas, he's the reason I'm a Chief fan, so it's got to be Derek.
Rock on. Dan?
So I'm going to bring you guys a little bit earlier because I'm the youngest person on this stream right now. But Jamal Charles is my all-time favorite, and he's the most underrated running back of all time. He's probably not going to get into the Hall of Fame even though he deserves to. But, yeah, I watched the earliest – this is going to make you guys feel really old. The earliest running back I can remember watching is Priest Holmes, who we got from the Ravens. So it's not like he was grown here, but it went – Holmes, and then Johnson, and then Charles, and now we've had a nice lineage of running backs, and that's really what got me into the Chiefs. So it's Jamal Charles.
Wow. Well, I have to agree with Danilo. My favorite player of all time is Derek, but the guy who made me a Chiefs fan is Christian Okoye. So that also
comes back to the run game,
right? Yes. And, it is what it is. So, hey, let's see. Other questions, you guys. If you are new to the chat, make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell notification. And hit that question mark at the beginning of your question. That's what I'm picking out of the chat because, quite frankly, I can't keep up any other way. Let's see. Thank you, Aaron. I always forget to say that, too. If you guys want to support us, grab some gear from the gear store. I have a couple new designs I'll work on over the summer as well, something cool. But you can get the Trooper stuff, all that stuff. It all helps us, so we appreciate it. Voodoo, are the Chiefs going to troll us and put McColl at X and slide DeDe into the slot if they sign him? No, because he'll get his butt kicked all day long. McColl at the X in press is a recipe for disaster. They cannot do that to him. You can do it every now and then, especially you get a look where you see too high and you think that they're going to go zone.
Yeah.
I do not like McColl in the press at all. Maybe I'm over aggressive about it, but am I wrong, Dan?
We haven't seen a whole lot of it anyway. And when you don't see a whole lot of it, one, that kind of tells you that they're not comfortable doing it. And again, it's hard to gauge how a defense feels playing against a guy with 4.3 speed. You don't necessarily always want to get up close to him. And I know that McColl's been working on his hand, his hand quickness and getting off of press early. But if you can get your hands on McCole Hardman, guess what? He's not going anywhere. He's not the strongest guy. His frame doesn't allow him to really put on the muscle like we see with Tyreek. So it's a little bit different with him. But again, if you miss with a guy with that speed, guess what? It's touchdown. So that's why we haven't seen it so much and why the Chiefs don't really put him out there to make him susceptible to it. And you're not going to see it much in the slot. So,
Aaron, I am working on hats. I think what I'm going to have to do is just open a new store that's going to be hats only because I can't get the current vendor to actually print anything right. Evidently, the RGR logo is a pain in the butt because of its shape. So I'm working on some alternates. I hope to have something done over the summer by training camp so everybody can get new gear and put it on their heads. So I will keep working on that, and I will let you guys know, of course. Avery has a good point. McKinnon could take some of the return duties from McColl. I don't think McColl is that great of a returner, to be honest. I think he's boomer bust, but you have a good point. McKinnon could do some of it. DJ, would you like to see that happen?
I would not. If we're going to get anything out of him in the run game, I don't want him getting smashed on returns. And I think that a big part of McColl's development this year has to be showing that commitment to focus on returns before they're going to trust him to focus on crucial route moments later in the game. That said, I would line him up anywhere at wide receiver against 80% of the league. It's that 20% of tacticians, those best corners in the league. He doesn't want any piece of them at all.
Yeah, I get it. I haven't seen Darwin Lego. I hope that he's looking fast. He's got to bring something new to the table. I think he's going to be under some pressure. So I hope that he's training hard. And Russell, what do Willie Gay or Nick Bolton have to show to replace Ben Neiman as the dime linebacker? Make plays and don't get destroyed in the run. It's pretty simple. And quite frankly, I think that's the hope. Am I out in left field, Dan? Do you think that they're trying to press Nick Bolton in as quickly as possible?
I don't necessarily think they are, but again, if we continue to see the player that Ben Neiman is as the dime backer, I think they're not going to have much of a choice. They're going to have to get somebody out there that has better ability than he is. You can be the smartest player as you want to, but if you can't get where you need to get, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be on the bench, and that's where you deserve to be because, again, Andy Reid has shown this love and affection for guys who are just smart players. Dan Sorensen is one of the smartest players on the team. He knows everything where he's supposed to be, but we know sometimes he can't get to where he needs to be. And Ben Neiman is very much like that in the sense that he doesn't have the physical ability to get where he needs to be. So I think that they might be hard pressed to do that.
Fair enough.
I think what they have to show up. They show up to the meetings, show up in the development chart, and show up to the field dressed in uniform. They're just so much more athletic. It's going to be, I mean, if they just do regular gradual evolution at that position, they're going to outpace them really soon. So
yeah. Danilo, you start with this one too. Abby, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry it took me so long. And Aaron, thank you for making sure that I saw this. Melvin Ingram or Justin Houston? Would you take one over the other, or would you sign none of them?
I mean, I hate to say none. I know there's been some talk of bad blood with the Justin severance and everything else. If Justin thinks fine, I'd rather have Justin because aside from the big injury he had with us, he's shown he can stay healthy and he's been productive. I think Melvin could be really boom or bust, and I would hate to get him and pay him decently and then he's not available for 80% of the games or, 50% of the games.
Okay.
So,
Dan, do you have a preference? Or does little one have a preference? Okay. Does she feel the same or is she going to argue? 900.
Justin Houston.
That's
fam.
Awesome.
He's fam. So
right. Might as well do it. Wolverine, thank you, sir. What's the biggest correlation between the athletic matrix and NFL success? Example, do prospects with a high RB rack elusive rate get more yards per carry in the NFL? That's a very good question. And the elusive rate is good. It doesn't necessarily correlate to yards per carry. It correlates more closely to explosive plays, what ESPN calls 20s or pluses, what PFF calls 15s or pluses, because it allows them to survive contact, and then they can make that yardage on their own. At the end of the day, every running back is dependent on their offensive line. And if you have a crap line that can't open a hole, you're not going to be able to use that elusive attribute in your own game. So it makes it a little bit difficult. The thing that comes in is the edge rushing metric for particularly smaller, bendy, like true Gumby type edge rushers is really, really accurate. It's less accurate for the Spags type, like the power crush the pocket guys, right? The turn and run attributes of the cornerbacks are really, really accurate. And the short area quickness for wide receivers is usually very, very indicative of what they can do at the next level. That doesn't always equate to receptions, unfortunately, but it does equate to routes one versus the D-back, and that's what comes in handy. You still got to rely on somebody to deliver you the ball, and that's not always something you can get done. So thank you for the question, and I appreciate that you dug into it that far. This is stuff that I'm passionate about. Maybe we'll even do something where I just do analytics questions for some time, and we can get it all out of the way because I'm sure I just bored the snot out of everyone else. Thanks, Wolverine.
I think Clyde's a really good example of that exact question.
Absolutely. Cole, do you think Tim Ward makes the week one roster? I'd love to see it happen. You do think he makes a 53, Dan?
I think he does, mostly because of the depth that they don't necessarily have at edge. They just brought another inexperienced defensive end into the fold. And if you're not playing Wharton at defensive end, if you're sparingly putting Jones out there, you have Dana, Taco, Clark. You got to have somebody else, and I think Ward is the guy that they're really, really high on. We did see him at the end of last year actually get on the field. I think that leads better to him. Speaks good of him getting on the roster and getting in the rotation in week one, at least for now.
Fair enough. DJ, do you agree?
I like his size and I like his length and his motor most of all, and he's obviously shown growth. And one thing that helps things grow is hitting the like button and the subscribe banner and that notification bell so you make sure you get all of our shows.
Dude, look at that. That was like professional. Dang, I like that one. Lucas, do you guys think that Thornhill has a solid season? Yes, I absolutely think that he picks up where he left off in his rookie year.
I
and
love
Dan
it.
agrees.
I think he's going to be. When you saw him, the trajectory of him going up, like at the end of last year, he was finally getting his feet under him. I think that's exactly what you wanted to see from him. It took a little bit longer than we expected, but yeah, I think he's going to end up playing this season like he ended his sophomore season.
And Russell, do you think Maurice French makes a push for the final roster? Seems like he's a Dave Toad. DJ, what do you think?
I love Maurice French. I love his tape. I love everything he can do. He reminds me a lot of Byron Pringle. He's got a lot of traits that I think the Chiefs really like, and that's why he's still part of this team. And yeah, if they put him out there as a return guy, I think Tobe's going to really enjoy him. And hey, you know what? It could take some pressure off McCole. Don't worry about returns, but we'll see what happens. They're all over the place with these young receivers. I'm not sure. They have trends and they don't seem to break them, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Dan, do you agree?
No, I unfortunately I love Maurice French too. I love it. I love everything he does. I think he's a very solid player. I just think that they're going to use Pringle in more return things like he did last year. I think that's what they want to do. They showed that that's really how they wanted to take it, with McCole having some issues here and there with his returns. And unless he takes that step this offseason, I think Pringle's going to do most of that. And they clearly have said that Powell essentially is going to make this roster. They pretty much said that that's what he's going to do. So I feel like he's just going to miss it.
Yeah, I have to say, like, French is fine. I'm not particularly digging anything he does in particular. He's solid, but I don't think he's got a shot at the 53. And this question kind of ties into that. Why is no one talking about Antonio Callaway or Tajay Sharp as X receivers? They're both a little small for that, but both can easily make the roster and get great depth. They have to make the roster in the Reed system. They're both journeymen. They both have problems where they've been. So I'm not sure that they can easily make anything, Arthur. I think they have a shot for sure. And that's probably two reasons why French probably doesn't, in my opinion. But do you see either of these guys making a big splash this training camp, DJ?
I think they're push it guys. I think they're guys that are going to they brought them in to push guys like French, guys like Powell, to make them either rise up the roster or to push them off the roster. I don't think either of them is going to make it because I have that much faith in French. I would like to see possibly maybe we can trade Robinson and Pringle cannot have to do that return stuff and get banged up. He's great at it. I agree with Dan. I just like to see him more in a receiver role.
Fair enough. Scott, it does look like they're going to have it in St. Joe. Nothing's official yet. I will be there my normal last weekend of camp like I always am. I don't know if we can schedule it for both of you, but I think, Dan, you're planning on, DJ, you're a maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will be there regardless at some point.
Rock and roll. Okay, Aaron, I'm glad you said that. Natalie, Cole, not Coke. Okay, good. Good job. I was a little bit concerned there. Y'all weren't sharing something with me. Looking for questions. Scott, I've been a fan ever since DeBerg, Barry, and Cherry. Wow, good for you guys. Yeah, I was still pulling for the Bears back in those days. So those were the good days back then, right? Info's happy with Pringle returning. I like that. Stevie's got a good point. Yeah, I mean,
he's the all-time returner outside of Hester, I think.
Like Dante's Dante. Let's see.
X-Factor, the original.
Right. Good point, Aaron. Feel free. You can always jump up a level and go up to All-Pro, and you can go back down next month or whatever you guys want to do. That's perfectly fine to jump around if you're already a member. Lego, DLC Noah Gray or Callaway doing returns. Both have great experience in special turns. Noah Gray's been a returner? No, I don't see him doing that ever.
No, I don't believe so.
No,
when they attempt an onside kick and it gets through to the up man, then maybe. But other than that, no.
I could easily see Hans' team. I am pretty happy with some of the more acrobatic things he's had to do. Mostly because his quarterback wasn't accurate, but
he's got some hands. The dude's got some hands on him. I love it.
But returns, no. No. This here's the NFL. That ain't happening. Scott, can our offensive line be as good as the offensive line when they had Vermeil? No.
Not even close.
There's
different
just
times, different offensive lines.
No one's is. The best offensive line in this league is not up to that par because offensive linemen are not prepared in college to come to the NFL and play offensive line. They're trained to play patty cake, and that's it. Don't get me started. Sorry.
That's more of a development of the game, evolution of the game response. Yep. Absolutely. I think if you take them in the context of what offensive lines do now, for me, they are to the 2003 offensive line of the Chiefs what Alex Smith was to Trent Green. They're by far the best group we've had since those guys.
Yeah.
And it's not close.
That's fair. Yeah, this is quite. I mean, I called it the wall last week. It is a wall, and if they can get together. Nice thing is there's young depth. If they can put it all together, they might get to that point. I don't know that the game's going to let them be that dominant like those guys were with Trent Green. So, quick one is we're going to wrap up here in a couple of minutes, you guys. Let's start with DJ. Who's a breakout candidate for you on this roster?
1,350 yards rushing and 10 plus touchdowns. CEH, please. And I don't care if they all run to the left side all day long. Just run to the left side and get 1,300 plus and 10 plus touchdowns, because then we're not losing more than 1 or 2 games. Nice. Dan?
That's Mike Dana for me. I think that this is we have to see that next step, and I have to project he's going to take that next step. I did see, I saw the tools at Central Michigan. They didn't have him using at Michigan, but again, he has the tools to be a pass rusher and a run stopper. He was very good in run stopping last year. I think he can take that next step and become a proficient pass rusher and give them a guy, a bookend opposite of Frank Clark if he takes that next step.
Yeah, I like that. I think this guy has as good a chance as anyone coming off of an injury. I'm a little concerned about that, but he's going to get a ton more snaps. He's got the athleticism, and I think he could be good for, 6 turnovers, probably a handful of TFLs. I'll take Willie Gay this year. That's where I think it's going to go. Let's see here. Who else has questions? Unless you're Barry Sanders.
You know what I like about that, Ryan, what you just said? When we all talked about our player that got us hooked on the team, I went with the guy that smashes the run, and you guys both went with the running backs. And then when we go our breakout guy this year, I went the running back. You guys went with guys that smash running backs.
That is funny.
I love it.
Tell me how it's a passing league, right? It is now. It's not the same game as it was 20 years ago, you guys. Avery, where we're at with Frank Clark, I feel this year is almost as much a boomer bust for him as it is for McCole. I know he can be impactful, but we have not seen the return on investment as of late. Thoughts? You guys, Dan, go first.
This is all about his stomach issue. If it's resolved, he's going to be fine, because that's just the player he is. You guys saw him ramp up at the end of the season and do what he does best. He was effective in the run game, and he was disruptive in the pass rush. He wasn't getting all the sacks, but you don't have to get sacks to affect the pass rush. And if he's healthy and that stomach bug or whatever's going on with his stomach is fine, he's going to be fine. I have no issues with that, but that's all it is. It's just his stomach.
Fair enough. DJ, anything else?
I mean, if it's the stomach is the thing, and they know better than anybody else behind closed doors what's going on with that. If he looks the same slow burn as he always has in camp, it might not be enough for the money, and it could be a June 2nd after trade.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it could be interesting. I kind of feel like, again, the contract year is what's going to play into it unless they get that thing figured out. I'm really interested. I'm going to be watching Frank closely this year. I'll put it that way. Ryan Strange, Aaron Rodgers makes the Browns unequivocally to the Super Bowl. No. That Browns team with Aaron Rodgers would be better than Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs, better than Josh Allen's. Oh, that's from CBS. Okay. Yeah. No, that's ridiculous. Nobody's unequivocally anything. You got to play the games, bro.
Have they seen Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs? Come on. This is ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, but he's not been very good in the playoffs. And you guys want to talk about Patrick Mahomes against that defense in Cleveland? It's a bunch of young guys. They don't know what they're doing. Right. You think you can't carve them up anyway? Come on.
There's certainly a possibility. Aaron raises the bar completely, but yeah, I'm guessing this was Pete Prisco, Ryan. I suggest don't read that anymore. I'm just saying. Holly, a lot of people are not so big on Pringle, and I don't quite understand. What are his downsides? He hasn't been that productive, and quite frankly, he doesn't change direction as well as a lot of people are used to seeing Tyreek. And I think there's too much comparison to Tyreek in this offense for me. That's my thought, is why everybody's kind of sleeping on him. Do you see something else, DJ?
I see a guy that it's unfair, because if you don't throw him a lot of balls, you don't get to say he doesn't catch a lot of balls.
Right.
He catches what you give him, and he makes plays, and he takes teeth-rattling smacks at the goal line against the Detroit Lions and doesn't fumble the ball, and we run it in for the win. That's a guy I want on my team for sure.
Yeah. Dan?
Chad Henne.
Chad
Henne used Byron Pringle. You want to know what? He was productive. He got a touchdown. He used the jump ball. Guess what happened? He went and got it. Use him properly. Stop this trying to be compared to Tyreek and McCole Hardman. Like, he's not going to be that. He's a possession receiver. He's going to get open in the short intermediate. You can also use him as deep threat because he's got 4.4 speed. You don't have to pigeonhole him into this, oh, he's not, Tyreek Hill nonsense. He's able to do some things. And I feel like for whatever reason, the Chiefs have not wanted to get him the ball. And last year, Patrick Mahomes really went to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Predominantly, that's what he went to. And I think that he learned last year in the Super Bowl, sometimes you got to go a different way. Sometimes he's going to have to hand the ball off. Sometimes you have to throw it to Byron Pringle. Things are going to happen this year that are different than they've been in the past.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that. And
we hope.
Definitely right. Ryan Schmidt, I like where you're at. I'll take Dan Salimu just about anywhere. His brother used to own a bar out here that I used to, frequent from time to time. So I have a soft spot for old Sally Moos in my heart. We're going to end on this here. Oh, not this one anyway. Ryan, yes, I was. Yeah, we're not going to go into how old I was. Julian, just hit me on Twitter. Just tweet at me, and I'll get you that way. And that scared me. I'm just gonna
that's the shuffle. They were limited for athletes. They weren't impressive.
And Aaron, I'm glad you brought this up. We're going to end on this one because I thank you guys all for being here. Click the like and the sub and the bell if you're not one of us already. Refrigerator Perry was the best fullback in the history of fullbacks, and I'm glad he happened. So, hey, enjoy that. Guys, thank you for taking the time, both of you, tonight. I enjoy this. I know we didn't quite keep going, but we did all right.
Yeah, it's always like this. I feel like we're always kind of slow because we talk too much, and adding three of us, we all we want to talk about football. So this is fun.
Yeah. Yep. But folks, what we're going to go do going forward is these guys are going to alternate with me. So we'll just be two of us again so that we can get through more. But thank you for all the super chats. Thanks for your support. Aaron, Jeff, thank you both as well. Hope you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.